What is up, everybody, and welcome to the second recap of Survivor 43. I'm Gideon. This is Adam, aka Cody's Hat. Adam
Hey,
coming at you live from Brooklyn, New York. Me coming at you live from the George Washington Bridge. Hopefully, for the last time, coming at you live from my phone as well because I move soon. Um,
nice.
Real quick though, if you go click on the description of the video right now, you can find our Discord link. We'd love for you to join our Discord, and so that way we can talk even more Survivor with you, but this time in text form, through a Discord text channel. That would be epic. But yeah, I guess we're gonna be talking about the episode. We've been pretty consistent. I think we streamed, 2 times in a row in the morning after the show. Maybe we should be the morning show of Survivor. That would be pretty cool. I like the schedule, but yeah.
Should we start? Should we start that trend?
The
Hashtag.
more hashtag Survivor morning show. Hashtag Survivor Buff morning show.
Yeah. I'm checking our fantasy teams. If you guys haven't, or do you want to tell them about the
Oh
draft we
yeah,
did?
we had our fantasy draft. What was it? A few days ago. Um, rock
Yes.
paper scissors to see who got Mariah or Myra. What? How do you say
Mariah. Yeah.
it?
No, you're right.
Mariah and Adam got her. Um,
Woo.
so yeah, but I don't know. I was looking back at the fantasy video yesterday, and I was like, I feel like I have a lot more wild cards than you on my team. Like I feel like the
Hmm.
people on my team will either go out very early or go out late.
Hmm.
So hopefully
Okay.
hopefully I'm okay, but I feel like your team's more solid in short.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you had Justine.
I knew, yeah, I figured.
So
I
where
didn't have a
you're
lot I didn't have a lot of stock in Justine, to be honest. So
yeah, you also technically are winning by 1 point. So congrats.
yay, I'm
As I'm
finally in the lead.
editing our editing it as we speak. Almost done. Wanted to put X's over the people's names so you guys could see. Yeah. So if you guys didn't watch us last year, um, we're kind of doing the same format for our fantasy teams in that we each picked 9 people from the season. We each start off with 126 points. Why 126 points? It's too hard to explain, but just know it's 126 points. Um, and basically, after every week, depending on who goes home, you lose points. So you want to end up with the winner is the person that has the most points at the end of the season. So it's kind of like football, basketball, like major U.S. sports, in that there's a allotted time, and the winner is who has the most points after the time runs out. We're not playing towards a specific number. Um, so, with that being said, we're subtracting points from our score, but you still want the most points at the end. So, if that sounds confusing, I'll make it a little easier. We each have 126 points. Mariah came at 18th place. She was on my team, so I'm subtracting 18 from my score. Gideon had Justine, right? Justine? Yeah. On her team. And so we are, she came in 17th place. So we are subtracting 17 from Gideon's score. So right now, Gideon has 1 more point than I do. So he is winning for, I mean, for now. He's obviously not going to end up winning, but that's,
Probably not. Probably not.
I'm 2-0, right? I'm 2-0 as far
Yeah.
as we did this for 41 and we did this for 42. And are you sure I won 41? I know I won 42 for
I
sure.
know for a fact you won 41 because you had Erica.
Okay. Oh, right. Yeah. I keep forgetting that. Yeah, 41 we just did. Whoever has the winner wins. Okay. All right, let me see if I can share my screen. I have it up now. Let's see. Oh, I have to. switch my tabs. Okay, hold on. And one thing about this year compared to last year and 41 with the teams, I do feel like the people we picked early on are the people who, are going to go far. Like last year, there was people that didn't come to the last round or second to last or third to last round. And I was like, oh shoot, wish I was able to pick them up sooner. But I feel like for the most part, we did good. So yes. Okay. So, if looking at this now, is there someone from my team that you wish you could steal? Like if you could swap one person from your team to my team, what would you do?
Well, obviously, I'd want to get Jesse, but
yeah,
um,
someone I picked in the latter half though, like between Nika, James, Gio, or anyone after Owen, I'd say, because those are the obvious three.
James, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
James is the only one that I'd be like, I feel like he's not gonna. I feel like he's pretty solid.
Okay.
Gio is in trouble. Yeah, they're all in trouble at the latter part.
Well, I mean, Gio has one person that said they were weary about him, but that one person is arguably the one the most in the best position.
Yeah. Well, I think Nika had a really good episode this episode. I remember in our fantasy draft, I was like, I didn't even know she was on this season, but her second episode was a lot better than her first.
Yeah, she almost kind of reminds me of like the and I'm saying this for the reason of her. I was going to say she reminds me of kind of the Marianne of this season. And I'm saying that in the sense of it seems like she when she gets going and talking about Survivor, she's Survivor, I love it. The game is this. We're jumping at the screen, we're talking. She's a little I don't want to say manic, but she clearly has a extreme passion for the game and isn't afraid to show it. So that's what I meant by she reminds me of the Marianne for the season. If I could take one person from you, I'd probably pick I mean if I couldn't pick Sammy or Ellie.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like my team. I mean, I liked Cassidy a lot in the first episode, but she kind of was non-existent this episode. So Janine for the most part. Dwight, I don't know, his stock didn't really go up or down for me this episode. If anything, down. Don't think Gabler's going to go far. I mean, I'd probably pick Cody if I had to pick someone from your team. Like that wasn't one of the obvious ones.
Livin.
Yeah, Cody really like. I know last week we said he was kind of like the old school Survivor of the season, but that really came through this episode. Like he really made me feel like we were watching episode or season 4 or 5. I don't know.
That's not necessarily a bad thing always though.
I agree.
Because literally everybody, like nobody thinks there's any layers to Cody, if that makes sense. Like nobody thinks that he's secretly plotting against them. They see him as pretty transparent, which will mean that they want to keep him around because, he's not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
So
I think that's go ahead.
No, I was done.
I think that's the key to modern Survivor, in my opinion, is you don't have to be predictable, but you have to give off the illusion that you're predictable.
Yeah. I think sometimes you can go so far new school, you turn back into old school.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Like
it's almost kind of like since 41, we've almost kind of seen like a combination of like the 20s and 30s and the original 10.
Yeah. I mean, because not everybody is just like in Game Changers or David versus Goliath. That was high pace for a newbie season, or Kageon, where everybody is just going absolutely ham. It's like, even though it's a 26-day season, you do have to. It's almost harder for these new school players to calm down and establish those relationships, which is in my opinion, the most key aspect of Survivor, and that's something that I think Cody is actually doing well. And even
Yeah.
though, from mine and yours point of view, we probably wouldn't play Survivor like Cody. I mean,
Yeah.
it can get you far just because he's a likable guy. I mean, that's an aspect of Survivor. Not everything is immunities and, strategy and, voting block, whatever.
Hmm. Who from this season do you think, if you got on the show, you would play the most similar game to, of how they played so far?
Uh, Probably Sammy, I guess.
Okay.
Probably Sammy, just because like I would be the person on my tribe that was like, like he was pointing out, like, guys, we would be stupid not to, get together. It's in our best common interest. But what I will say is, like, if I went on Survivor, my number one thing would always be coming up with ideas but making other people feel like it's their own ideas, and that's what Jesse is doing. Like, if you notice when he was talking with Dwight after they lost immunity, he's like, so what do you want to do? Even though Dwight doesn't have a vote, but he still wants to make Dwight feel like some things are his idea and that he has a voice. And I think I would play that way as well.
Okay. Cool. Um, Question: what is up with everybody on this season having like a sad, depressing backstory? I mean, geez, this is like the
Well,
if there was a
it's
theme for
reality.
this
It's
season.
it's reality TV. So,
I know, but
what are
jeez.
can you really get on Survivor without a sad backstory anymore?
Or at least someone has a sad backstory. I mean, it was like every time you would see like the fade into the vignette, I was like, okay, what tragic events is and I'm trying to be polite here, but what tragic events has happened. And I'm not complaining. I'm just stating an observation. It's fine. It's not ruining the show for me. But again, like I said last episode, I really don't want Survivor to start um, preferring to cast people that have these super sympathetic, sad backstories over people that have good personalities for TV or would make good game players. Because at the end of the day, I would rather have someone who's had a boring, basic, status quo, whatever life. Nothing exciting has happened, but makes for great reality TV over someone who has had this tragic, sad backstory that doesn't make for good TV. I mean, in a perfect world, it would be cool to have both. I mean, I also don't wish that's. I don't want to make it seem like I'm wishing more people had sad backstories. Obviously, I want no one to have a sad backstory, but I do like how the editors are showing off everybody. Like it feels like one of the things that's hurt New School Survivor. And I feel like, once again, I feel like Russell is to blame for it. And I think he'll be proud to accept to take the blame for this. But it feels like from episode one, the second they hit the beach, it's boom, gameplay, 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 strategy, 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 hunt for idols, creating alliances, making plans from episode one. And we don't get time to find these people, to discover who they are, because nowadays when people go home, for the most part, I mean, when Omer goes home, it's like, no, but like that moment of, like, Ozzy getting blindsided in Micronesia, like those moments of people, Jean Robert going home in China, James, like those moments are like they don't hit you as much because we don't get enough time to, and maybe this is just the storyteller, the Hurricane Ian evacuation updates. Yes, if anyone is dealing with the hurricane, be safe out there. I know Phil couldn't do Survivor Specialists last night because he is right in the middle of the hurricane. So, but yes, I feel like we don't get to know the players enough anymore. And the backstories, the vignettes help, but that's like what, a minute for each person throughout the season. I feel like the editors are really showing, are going back to the roots of letting us get to know these people. And the hour and a half episodes are helping. What I was going to say, what do you feel about hour and a half episodes? Because I'm all for it.
Oh yeah, I'm all for it too. I like it. I do think that the B-roll footage and your tragic backstory can get a little too much. I think that there's a fine line. You
Mhm.
know, like, was it really necessary for us to hear a 5 minute story about Geo, coming out? I mean, not really. You probably could have replaced Romeo's monologue from 42 episode 2 and it would be the same dang thing, so it just felt a little repetitive, maybe that's why. But, I think there's a fine line, I feel like episode 1 did a pretty good job of balancing everything. This episode I wasn't as invested in the backstories. I mean, the Cody thing
Mhm.
was a little more relevant because he was talking to Noelle about her leg, and he was like, "I had a friend that lost a leg, and then he
Yeah.
died," and I was like, "Oh, okay, well, maybe I should hear a little more." But
Yeah.
I think there's a line, and then especially when Geo didn't even go home. So
Yeah. And that was kind of the main pre-challenge storyline with Coco. Um which the biggest thing that was interesting me was last episode really led you to believe that um Gio and Carlo were really close, and then like the first scene that you saw from Coco this episode was Carla basically saying, "Yeah, me and Gio aren't really that close as people as he thinks we are." So I thought that was pretty interesting. Really, the only thing from Baca this episode, which Baca got like by far the most screen time last episode, but from this episode, really all we had from Baca was Gabler kind of slowing the tribe down. Do you think that'll eventually catch up to him, or do you think Gabler actually has a chance to make it? I think we can all agree he's probably not going to win, but any chance Gabler
people
makes it to the merge?
people who I think it's more people take more notice to when you're lazy and barking orders than to when you're just like, I need to sit down and rest. Gabler was sitting down and resting, but not like being bossy, as opposed to Justine on the tribe who wasn't doing anything and barking orders to like Cody to move stuff and other like people like that sticks in people's minds when you're doing stuff like that. So I don't think it's as big of a deal as
Yeah.
it might seem. Will it catch up to him? I don't know. But I mean, it doesn't seem like he's, you know, I think he was more pointing out himself that he didn't want to be a liability, which means he's self-aware about it.
Right. Um, yeah, I do think going back to Coco, or going back to Vessi, I mean, um, since we're kind of going through all the tribes, Cody surprised me this episode, and that's even before the challenge. Like his social skills are better than I thought they would be. I thought he would be annoying, and I thought he would be just rub people the wrong way. But it seems like he's getting along with people pretty well. It seems like I'm not surprised that people are seeing him as a wild card, or at least it's a couple people said that at the beginning of the episode, but um, apparently when he dove off the cliffs, apparently that area is where survivors discreet. I wasn't sure if you saw that tweet from Omer, but he said that is the area where the producers tell them to um, release their waste.
Oh, the poop rocks.
The poop. Those are the poop. Those are the poop rocks. Yes. So that was pretty funny. I
Wow.
know you mentioned. Oh, what? Do you have something to say?
No, it's just like okay. Wow.
The other thing. The other thing with Bessie, which, like I said, I don't know if you got a chance to see the 5 minutes I talked after your phone died yesterday from the fantasy draft, but What I was saying was, I feel like this is going to be a common thing with every new season if they're going to do tribes of 3. It seems like the same thing was in 41 and the same thing was in 42. And that one tribe is the fun, goofy, comic relief tribe, which to me, that's the Gabler tribe this season. There's the tribe where they're just great in challenges. Everything is kosher. There's not really a lot
And
of
they're
scheming.
always blue.
Yeah, it's blue. It's cocoa. And then it seems like there's one tribe that is the drama tribe, where everyone's close, so it seems, but there's drama. To me, that's Vesey this season. And the thing with
Right.
Jesse, who was my number one pick, still my winner pick, I'd say, just because I haven't seen any reason not to pick him. He continues to impress me. However, I'm worried that he could fall into what happened with Mike Turner last season, and that he's playing such a strong social game that people are going to notice it. And like you say all the time, at the end of the day, Survivor, especially nowadays more than ever, is a social game. And as good as you can be a master at challenges, a master at strategy like Omer, master at challenges like Jonathan. But at the end of the day, it's about I would rather be crap at both of those and have an amazing social game. But the key is to have a great social game, but nobody notice how great your social game is. It seems like people are already starting to notice, wow, Jesse is making a lot of connections. Jesse is connecting with everybody, similar to Mike last season. I remember Mike was our player of the week a couple times, and he was someone really impressing us throughout the season. But players started to realize just how, and then there was other things too, like Mike voting out his closest ally 4 or 5 times. That definitely didn't help. But I don't know. Do you think Jesse is? What are your thoughts on Jesse after this episode?
I mean, I still think he's a very strong contender to win.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, he has the danger of going in that direction of Mike. I mean, you saw it with Justine, like in her confessional after she was voted out. She was like, "Jesse's playing both sides. Wow," and like
Yeah.
it's just I don't know. It's gonna like it will depend on the sentiment of people as they're getting voted out. Will it be like, "Oh, you're playing both"? Of course, you have to remember Mike probably wins if he just owns up to his game at the final 3. So I feel like Jesse has more of a chance to do that than Mike.
Mhm.
Especially Jesse being a fan of Survivor, seeing Mike not own up to his game and throw away his game and like give up a win to Marianne.
Yeah. True. Um, what'd you think of the snake challenge? It's always cool having. Have we seen that before?
Yeah.
Oh, we have. Okay, I was gonna say, was it recent or it didn't ring a bell to me? But
I'm pretty sure it's happened before.
all
And
right.
if it hasn't, then the chat will point it out for me, I'm sure. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was cool. I think the heavy hitters of that challenge were, obviously the people on the puzzle at the end. Ellie was clutch. But as far as like physical beasts, that guy on blue, Coco, what's his name?
James or not
Yeah,
James? Ryan.
Ryan was pulling weight in the snake. Cody was pulling weight on the snake, and then for Baka they all kind of work together. So I don't know.
The challenge is called Serpent Turf.
That's
Um.
that's that's classic.
Oh wow, we have definitely seen it before. First appeared in Karamoan and then in Cagayan, Game Changers, Ghost Island, Edge of Extinction. So we haven't seen it since Edge of Extinction, but
I
yes, we
was
have
almost
seen it.
positive I've seen that challenge before, but
Yes.
yeah.
It's also been on South Africa, Immunity Island. So um, I was just checking. Yes, first time ever. No, in Cagayan they also did a 2 teams could win, but um, I was trying to see the person who won Caramone. Cochran won the challenge in Caramone. Tony won the challenge in Cagayan. Lucina won it in Game Changers. Wendell won it in Ghost Islands. And who won Edge of Extinction? I won't count that because what's his name was there. So far, every time a tribe has won that challenge in Survivor. The winner ended up being on that tribe. So the first who came in first that challenge?
Well, that
Bak
was Baka.
Baka. Yeah. So if that
Look,
continues,
I genuinely think the winner is on Baka. I genuinely do. I think it's going to be Ellie or Sammy. Write it down.
you think it's gonna be who?
Ellie or Sammy. I think the winner is coming from Baka. I don't know. That just feels
Okay.
like the tribe that the winner is coming from. You know, pre-merge 42, we were like, oh yeah, Orange Tribe, the winner's probably coming from there. They're getting all the screen time. I feel like it's Baka this time.
Well, here's why I'm excited for Baka is because the thing to me that makes the best pre-merge is when you have intertribal clashes. Like what makes for a great post-merge is when power players that haven't played together come together and you're like, okay, cool, let's see how Drea versus Ricard versus Bubba is. Oh, okay, let's see how Omer versus
Drea
what?
versus Ricard, different. That's two different
Well,
seasons.
not Drea. But
Shit.
let's see. You know what I'm saying? Let's see how power players from different tribes clash when you come together. That's what makes a great post merge. But what makes a great pre merge, and then the in a perfect world, all the minions, the whatevers get voted off early, and it's just power players from the finale on. Um, in my opinion, what makes a great pre-merge is when you have intertribal clashes, and I feel like a Sammy Ellie clash is coming, and I feel like one of them is going to go home before, unless they win out, unless they just win every challenge and never go home. But especially because Gabler has the idol and not one of them. But I think Sammy is. Christian here thinks Sammy's going to be not winning early boot. I could see it. Sammy's one of those. Sammy and Ellie both. I could see them go home next week. I could see either of them winning. That's what's that's what's great about that tribe. They're definitely the two power positions. It's have we ever seen a true guys versus girls clash in recent history?
I mean, one world, but other than that, no.
Yeah.
Well,
So
that's the
nothing
thing.
that's
Is
coming off the
like
top of my head.
girls' alliances are way more common than guys' alliances, and girls' alliances because girls are a lot more smarter together than guys are smarter together, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Girls' alliances are usually better than guys' alliances. Guys' alliances
Yeah.
usually need a few girls in there to keep them sane. So it's we haven't really seen it, and Sammy said it in his confessionals. He was like, I usually don't buy into guys versus girls alliances, but you have to be stupid not to see that the two girls are bonding, and
Yeah.
he was feeling like they were underestimating him, so they're not hiding their sentiments towards the guys very well, which that is a mistake on Ellie's part.
Right. And they were. I mean, Ellie and Janine, and then Sammy and Mike. It seems like Owen might be the middle
Swing.
guy, but
Owen is the swing though, yeah.
which it seems I don't know. It's kind of tough. I don't really know who Owen is leaning towards because he hasn't really. I know he
It
said that
seems like
he.
he's leaning towards the girls more because he's helping them go through Gabler's bag.
True. And then
But
who? Somebody revealed in the preview for the next episode. Somebody revealed.
well,
Someone.
Owen was the only one there. Sammy wasn't there, so Owen had to tell Gabler, I guess.
I feel like it was Sammy though.
Was Sammy there as unless Owen
Well,
told Sammy and
yeah,
Sammy told.
I feel like that's what happened.
Okay, well we'll see next week, but
In which case, it's probably going to be Gabler and Sammy versus Ellie, and I really hope this tribe goes to tribal council next week.
yeah, that would be nuts because there's so many different variables.
Well, yeah, because then you have the element of the idol.
Well, yeah, Mike would be an idiot not to play it. It would be the dumbest move in Survivor.
And I don't correct me, tell me what you think, but I don't personally see a world where Gabler plays his idol for Sammy.
Nah. I mean, if Gabler is old school, then he would be like, okay, well, I guarantee myself 3 more days in this game, so I'm playing it.
Yeah. Well, it's not 3 anymore, right? It's 1 or 2.
2,
One
I
and a
guess.
half. Yeah. But yeah, I know what you're saying. So if I had to say, even though I do have a lot of stock in Sammy, I think because of circumstance, I could see Sammy going home. However, there's the other thing you have to look at, in the fact that if Owen is the deciding vote, if Owen decides to go with Ellie and Justine, right? Janine. If he goes with Ellie and Justine, he's number 3. He's number 3 in that alliance.
Right.
But if he goes with Mike and Sammy, he's kind of like either definitely number 1 or like sharing number 1 with Sammy. But he'd be sharing number 1 with the guy he just saved, so Sammy owes him. So in my opinion, I feel like obviously we don't see everything out there, but I feel like it might be smarter for Owen to go with Gabler. The other thing though is Gabler is so unpredictable.
Yeah.
At least that's the vibe he's putting off. I mean, I guess he really wasn't unpredictable in the first vote, but actually in a perfect world, Owen could switch to Gabler and Sammy, and Gabler doesn't play the idol. So not only is he in charge of the majority, but he is but has an idol within his alliance. Not that I think it would matter, but better to have the idol in your alliance than not in your alliance. But yes, Baka tribe to me is if I could root for one tribe to go to tribal council next week, I hope it's them, because I feel like it would it'd be cool.
Although I do want to see Coco go just to see them light their torches up, but
yeah, that'd be cool. Because we don't really know, you never truly know where everybody stands until they go to tribal. So we don't really.
That's the danger. That's the danger of not going to tribal for a while. Is it?
Yeah,
it puts a lot of strains on the tribal relationships, and because you don't really know.
Right. Other thing about the challenge before we get to the vote outs and Cody's hat debacle. Nika, when they were carrying the snake, why was she in the back? Why did she think that pulling the snake in the back would help? Did you see that?
This was probably from Nika one of like the worst individual challenge performances I've ever seen. It was actually pretty bad. Like,
yeah.
If I was on that tribe, I would definitely be like, what the frick? Why did you want to go on the puzzle? Why were you acting this way, pulling it?
But also, nobody on her tribe was telling her to come up to the front. I think it was Noelle who was sitting out, who was like, Nika, go in the front. She's like, oh, okay. And then they did so much better. Speaking of which, Noelle sitting out, I'm just saying, I feel like the feel like the disability is I mean, according to her, she wishes she could be out there. She thought that she could have done better out there, but clearly her tribe thought that
she probably could have done better than Nika.
Yeah.
And also it's like I said in the last episode, it's like swimming probably is more difficult for her because of her leg.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you get a challenge that's on land a bit more, then she probably wouldn't have sat out. But I think because it was just so heavily water based, it might not have been the best fit for her.
Yeah. Or like there was some climbing too. I feel like climbing is probably a tough thing. I don't know. Well, hopefully we get her on the show to ask. Because it seems like she's
Yeah,
pretty
it'd be.
open with her disability. But
Yeah, absolutely.
so Cody, this whole beware thing. At first, I was like, okay, this is super cool because the challenge ended and there was still like 40 minutes left. I was like, okay, something must happen in the rest of the episode if it's going to be an hour and a half long. And sure enough, it did. I thought it was cool. At first, I was like, when they went to tribal, I was like, man, he gave up so easily. I was like, and that's I thought the hat thing was pretty smart. I wasn't exactly sure on that based on the edit whose idea exactly the hat was, but I
It
love
was
how
Jesse's.
okay, and I also love how he was the most worried about Dwight, and Dwight ended up like helping without realizing what exactly it was. But yes, coming into trouble, I was like, man, he gave up so easily. I was like, as the season goes on, I keep questions on my notes, as you know, of things to ask survivors if we get them on the show. And my first note of the season for Cody was, why did you give up so easily? Obviously, you see later on that he didn't give up so easily. Excuse me. I also thought it would be a cool thing if at tribal council he was like Jeff addressed the hat and Cody was like, well, it was almost perfect if Noelle would give me her beads. I thought it would be cool if she ended up giving it to him at tribal. I thought that would have been such a cool moment, but obviously she gave it to him before. But there was like 45 minutes of build up to this hat thing, and it didn't even end up mattering because if he hadn't lost the hat, it would have been the same outcome, right? Justine still would have got 2 votes, Cody still would have got 1 vote, and Nika still would have got one
Yeah,
vote. Either way,
who voted for Cody again?
Justine, because Justine and Noelle were under the impression that they were splitting the votes in case Nika had found the idol,
Yeah,
because
I
they
mean
thought
that's nuts. Splitting votes with 6 people in your tribe. Oof.
well, plus Dwight didn't have a vote, so Justine and Noelle, if I have this right, were under the impression that Cody would be voting for Nika, and Jesse would be voting for, um, I guess, Cody, and
How did
then
they that's explaining that to them? I would have wished we got a little more footage on because that makes
right.
no sense to me.
Well, the thing was, it would be 2 and 2. That way, if Nika played her idol, which she doesn't actually have one, um, Cody would go home. If she didn't have an idol, they would revote and then just vote out Nika. That was what Justine and Dwight, even though Dwight didn't have a vote, that's what Justine, Dwight, and Noelle thought the plan was. However, the plan was really for Cody, Nika, and Jesse to all vote for Justine. So it's interesting because I don't feel, based on what we saw, it seems like if Dwight understood that that was the plan, that it would have been fine with him. I want to know why he wasn't told. I get why Noelle wasn't told because Noelle was tight with Justine. But why? Do you have any? Why was Dwight not told the plan? It seemed like he
Because
was.
he didn't want to vote out Justine. He wanted to work with the girls.
I guess, but if Jesse came to him and said, "Hey, it doesn't matter what you want. This is what's happening," I feel like Dwight would have been like. I feel like Dwight would have rather been told that than be blindsided.
Probably,
That
and that's what
hey,
that's probably what he's going to say next episode.
yeah, like what? Like even though I wouldn't have agreed with your plan, I still would have liked to know because now, I mean, he's not at the bottom. Clearly, the bottom is Noelle. Clearly,
Yeah.
the hierarchy of that tribe was Noelle, then Dwight, then Nika, and then you can argue if Jesse or Cody are at the top, but um, and we that's what we can kind of see from Vessi and from Baka. So we kind of know the hierarchy of both tribes. Again, it's kind of Gabler and Sammy, Ellie and Janine, and then Owen in the middle. We don't really know the hierarchy of the Coco tribe. I mean, clearly, just to kind of throw a little bit of Coco in there, it seems like it's Geo and Ryan are close. but then it's everybody else. It's Carla, Cassidy, Lindsay, and James.
Right.
So, however, it seems like the only person who's connected with the other side is Carla and Gio. So even though we didn't see too much of them this episode, but I digress. Janine goes home, or Justine. Sorry, there's a Janine and a Justine. Justine goes home. She was on your team. So there's that. Who gets your player of the week? You're gonna be surprised with mine. I think we might disagree this week. I have a little bit of like a wild card pick.
Well, my player of the week is Cody. I'm
Okay.
I'm gonna say it's Cody, number one, because this episode was all about him. So from an editing standpoint, it's absolutely Cody.
Yeah.
But then also from a gameplay standpoint, the Beware advantage, it was risky. It was a risky move. I wouldn't have done it, but it paid off and he swung it. So looking back on it, hindsight's 2020. It was best for him, and now he's sitting pretty with a full power idol and good social standing with everybody, and he's in the power position of his tribe. I think Cody makes merge guaranteed now.
I think so too. And I do think Cody is probably my number 2 of the week. The only thing preventing that is the fact that I still don't think he's in the top position of his tribe. And
Not a bad thing, though.
And Jesse and Nico know about the idol. I feel like the idol is it's I don't want to say it's meaningless, because it definitely, the best thing about Cody having the idol, in my opinion, is the fact that he knows nobody else has it, which is a valuable thing. I don't think he's going to use it. I mean, he'll probably use it, but he won't need to use it. But I definitely, yes, I agree, Jay, and what's your name, Gideon. I do think that Cody is making. Yeah, I don't think it's meaningless. Meaningless isn't the word I'm using. Yes, it's. But I don't think he's gonna need to use it, is what I'm saying. So therefore, the fact that I don't think his idol needs to be used, and the fact that everybody knows that he has it, is why I don't put him as number 1. And I could see him being the type of person to be, well, it is a full power idol. He just can only use it for 2 tribal councils, and then it's null and void, right? Just like
I thought it was full power.
Just like Gabler?
No, I thought it's a Beware advantage, so it turns into an actual idol once you do the thing.
Well, how come Gabler's is only 2? Oh, because his was from the risk.
Gabler got it from Advantage Island.
Oh, okay. Yes, I don't know. Christian seems to think he can only use it up until the merge.
I don't know. I'll have to go back and look. But
so yes, Cody definitely had the most screen time. This was his episode. I'm not denying that this was Cody's episode. However, if you're asking me who I think is in the best position, and who, through the moves we saw on the TV, have put them in the best position for a long run, you're going to be surprised here. I'll actually give my Player of the Week award to Carla.
You're an idiot.
Because I feel like Carla is the most guaranteed to make the merge based on her social position. And I would rather make the merge based on my social position than based on if I'm a physical, how good I am at the physical, and how good I, Cody with the idol and strategy and all that.
Okay.
I would say Carla is in the best social position on the most powerful tribe. And she's in the best social position, and it seems like nobody realizes how good of a social position she's in. So I would say Carla. I feel like she is tight with everybody on a tribe that is the most power. I mean, they're the only tribe that still has 6 people. They're the most powerful tribe right now, and nobody has an idol on that tribe. And the fact that she is sitting at the top of that tribe and nobody realizes she's sitting at the top, to me, that is as good of a position you can be in right now. So I will give her my my performance of the week. But this was Cody's episode. This, without a doubt, was Cody's episode. So anyway, other than that, I guess that's pretty much it. Did you have anything else for the Lovable Curmudgeon episode?
No.
Okay. Well, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully, any of our viewers that are in Florida didn't get too affected by the idol. I actually got a text from Phil halfway through that episode. If you guys are Specialist fans, he's okay. No damage to his property or anything. Just a lot of rain and winds. So he's all good. The only thing that he just had, his power went out yesterday, so he missed the episode. That's why he couldn't. I know we have a lot of crossover viewership with us and the Specialists. So I just thought I'd mention that to our dear friend Phil Wood. Check out Nathan does a clip of the week every Saturday here afternoon on the channel. We have a Survivor clip of the week. So check that out. We also do Drew and Emily were not able to do a Survivor Hot Takes episode this week just due to some weird circumstances, but everything's okay. But check them out. They're also here on the Survivor Buffs channel. As Gideon mentioned at the beginning of the episode, check out our Discord. The link is in the description. All season long, you can talk to other Survivor fans. Hot Takes, to answer your question, Jay, Hot Takes is normally on Mondays. There was just a weird, it'd take me 10 minutes to explain what happened, but everything's okay. But Hot Takes will be hopefully back next week. Predictions for next episode. I don't really like predicting for next episode. It's easier to predict when it's merged because it really depends on who wins the challenge, and it's a roll of a dice who wins the challenge. But if I had to predict someone to go home, I guess I don't think Blue is going to go home. If I had to predict someone, I'll say Sammy. If I had to put my money on someone,
I'll say Sammy. Sammy either goes out next tribal council for their tribe or he wins. There's no in between.
Yeah. But yes, join our Discord. You can talk to other Survivor fans all along, make predictions, and become a member. Like I said, we do interviews with past contestants. You get a chance to sit in on those interviews, say hi to your favorite Survivor players. We also do Survivor Buff raffles, so you get to join that. Other than that, be sure to like the video. It helps us out a lot, and subscribe so you can see next week's episode. We're here the day after every episode recapping. Other than that, stay thirsty, my friends.